We're always looking for that hidden gem, that guy who could be a tremendous value late in drafts. And of course, at pitcher, it's even more important. So who should you target late? I'm going to start out with a guy I'm so high on, I have to put him first. Not a starting pitcher, he's not even a closer either. But Andre Munoz, he's definitely somebody who has arrived. Now, I say that, and he hasn't really done anything to blow the doors off in terms of fantasy. Like I said, not truly a closer, only had 4 saves last year. He's not headed for the rotation. He's just an elite reliever who's going to be a setup man. So why should you care in fantasy? You load your staff up with good pitchers and let the results come, because even relievers like Munoz can get you some wins. And especially if you do happen to play in a league that uses holds or save plus holds, at a lot of leagues are going to, or maybe you're just in a points league, he's tremendously valuable and should be drafted. Strikes out 36% of batters, and he's a guy who, despite battling injuries the last couple years, hasn't really reached his full potential. MLB Network just not too long ago put out its list of the top 10 relief pitchers in all of baseball, and he came in 7th, which was sort of controversial because he topped some big name closers, guys like Jordan Romano, other guys who thought that they deserved a higher spot. Did have offseason foot surgery, no reason for concern. He might be slow played in spring training, but he should be ready and good to go for the beginning of the year. And this is somebody who, like I said, can get you strikeouts. He will get holds if things break right for him. He could wind up getting more than just a few saves. But this is the type of guy who can stabilize your ratios. And I'd say don't just look at current opportunity in terms of who's a closer, who's not. Look at a guy who has tremendous talent, and Munoz can help you. And now a young pitcher who is in the rotation, Roansy Contreras of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Graduated last year, was on the top 100 overall prospects list. Did get his shot in the majors. Some mixed results. He looked really good early on, showed some of his sharp stuff, but did have a little barrel issue in the sense that some hitters were barreling him up. Did give up a lot of hard contact at times. Besides the fact he won't get you very many wins, he can help you out. I think the ratios will go down. The strikeouts will go up. He had good numbers in the minors. He has good stuff. So that's why he's a sleeper on a bad team. Uneven results as a rookie. He could climb up in value very quickly. Don't give up on him just because of his jersey. Now let's swing it the other way with a guy who's a veteran. In his prime, though, 27 years old, Justin Steele of the Chicago Cubs. So unlike Contreras, Steele is a guy who did a really good job of limiting hard contact, barrel rate of just 15% for opposing hitters. So really good job of not getting hit hard. Probably the fact that he got to face against the Pirates several times last year. Somehow Steele wasn't really great in terms of getting batters to chase, but yet he still came out with a strikeout per inning. In fact, a little over a strikeout per inning. So his strikeout numbers were really good. There might be some regression there, just like I'm seeing some positive regression for Contreras in Pittsburgh. There could be a little bit of negative regression for Steele in terms of strikeouts, but he should still hover around a K per inning. 25% is where he was at. I don't think he'll go much lower than 23, and that's about league average. And he could get you some wins if Chicago is at least competitive this year. He did a good job of eating innings last year. In all, a guy who, well, I think is just now getting to the point where he can be a reliable, possible mid-rotation starter in the majors, which means in fantasy, he could be a number 4 or 5 guy for you. Not somebody who's going to wow you in any particular category, but just could be rock solid across the board. And he's going at a really late ADP because people aren't really on him yet. All right, now a true veteran, Jordan Montgomery in St. Louis. He's now hitting the age of 30, and you know he moved from the Yanks to the Cardinals last year with pretty good results. He'd always been a pretty solid, if not spectacular, lefty, a guy who can work the zone, didn't get hit too hard. Well, the ratios predictably got better. Not that it matters anymore that it's the National League instead of the American, because DH is universal, finally. But better conditions, a little bit better of a park factor here. In fact, a lot better park factor. You know, in St. Louis, the 5th lowest park factor in terms of runs, and it was 21st for home runs. Obviously, better situation than Yankee Stadium. So he gains by that. You know, St. Louis has always done a good job of having pitchers who go out and work prolonged outings. They're not going to pull their starters too early. They also have a knack of getting the most out of their starters. Montgomery's a guy who really doesn't need any work. He has a low, I should say, elite 5% walk rate, and so won't get himself into trouble. The strikeouts aren't going to be overwhelming, but look, the ratios, this is what you're looking for here, and the potential for a lot of quality starts and wins in St. Louis. He's a guy who, again, isn't going to get very exciting on draft day, but someone who could be a really solid piece to the end of your rotation. Back to the youth, let's go to Boston now, and a guy who joined the rotation late in the year. Again, a little uneven. What do you expect with young starting pitchers? But Brian Bello is somebody who should be interesting. He averages 97 miles per hour on his fastball. He's got the arm talent. That is not a question. What we're worried about is the control. It always comes with time. Will it happen this year? We shall see. But it's definitely worth taking a shot to find out. He's a guy who's interesting because he's had the velocity, of course, in that fastball. He also throws a very hard sinker, so he should be good at inducing ground balls and not getting himself into trouble with home runs. Well, we'll have to see if he can make that real leap to become a fantasy asset this year. He's got the opportunity, he's got the talent, so just needs it to come together. Definitely worth taking a shot at the end of your draft. Now, I saved my favorite pick for last. Talk about a still young pitcher who is still barely on the top 100 prospect list, although he moved down quite a bit, at 92 right now according to Baseball Prospectus. Could this be the next Robbie Ray? Maybe. If there is, I think it could be Kyle Muller. I'm talking about a big, lanky left-hander who throws hard and just needs to kind of harness it all together. So he's somebody who is 6'7" and 250, hard-throwing lefty. Like I mentioned, he can strike out batters. He can also walk batters, hence the comp here. Instead of Atlanta, which of course, always a contender, he has been moved to Oakland as part of that Sean Murphy deal. So he's definitely getting a chance to hold down a rotation spot all year in Oakland, work through his issues, maybe figure things out. Definitely an improvement in terms of ballpark. You know, Oakland, great place for pitchers. I know you're going to look at the numbers, say the 5.14 ERA in terms of his major league experience, not good, and you'll just turn and walk the other way. The whip is even worse. But look, small sample, different scenario, another year of experience. I think he's definitely worth a late pick. The upside is tremendous, and worst case is you cut bait and you run and you pick somebody else. So I'm definitely taking a shot on him as many drafts as I can later on. Now you know some of my favorite sleepers at pitcher. What about some hitters that you should be interested in? Check out this video here for my take.